please consider throwing a bit to the Patreon. Alright, let's finish off my commission to the anonymous commissioner, the post-Super Genesis Wave Antoine. Yeah, so clearly we can see that there's been a design change from the post-Super Genesis Wave. Like most of the other characters, he now matches more along the video games aesthetic of male characters not really wearing clothes aside from gloves and boots. Although he does have some belts for added flair. But did they really change much about his backstory? Let's get into that. According to post-Super Genesis continuity, Antoine came to Castle Acorn to fulfill a squireship, where he would soon become a knight. But Dr. Eggman's coup, of course, interrupted that, forcing him to flee along with Princess Sally and the other freedom fighters into the Great Forest. Just like before, Antoine was always very frightened, but didn't allow that to get in his way of defending his friends and family. And through this, he actually managed to become a great swordsman. I would argue he's actually a greater swordsman now than he was in the pre-Super Genesis continuity, even borrowing a couple of Sonic's moves. Although, since he lacks spines, he has to use his sword. Of course, the most important thing is that Antoine and Bunny are still together. And even the backstory of how their romance developed is still more or less intact, with Antoine admiring Bunny, and she inspires him, and he inspires her, and they fell in love. And I'm glad that is still intact after all this time. Seriously, if the post-Super Genesis Wave retconned away their marriage, I honestly think I might have stopped reading the series. Because that's a very big thing to drop, and I'm glad they didn't. But you're bored of me talking about this. Let's get to making the toy. Now, usually, Antoine would be made from a Tails figure with Silver's legs, but the post-Super Genesis appearance of him is a bit more sleek and muscular, so this time I'd use Sonic's torso. I, of course, built up on it with some epoxy sculpt to give him his coyote tail and all of his belts. And I think it's worth noting that despite all these belts being here, the waist swivel still works. I just wanted to point out that that bit of articulation is still there. Then I, of course, had to modify the head, which is still Tails's. Slight change to the shape of the ears, and then all of his hair and new muzzle stuff. The new Antoine's muzzle is not quite as long or upturned as it was in the pre-Super Genesis look, and also his color scheme is a lot more yellow. It's like all of the place where the light beige fur or the light tan fur would have been is now a much closer match to the color of his hair. I think this is another attempt to recapture the video game aesthetic where, the color schemes are much more simple, each character only using a couple of them. At least that's my theory. The arms and legs are really not a big deal. They're both just straight up repainted. One is like mostly Tails' arms, and then it's just Silver's legs. So let's go ahead and look at the completed figure. So here's Antoine, fully constructed with his post-Super Genesis look. I gave him a holding thing hand so he could hold a sword, but I couldn't actually find a sword. Guess it's up to the commissioner to try and figure something out here. Yeah, I mean, I guess cocktail toothpicks, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure you'll figure something out. It's not like there's a big shortage of toy swords. I just happen to not have any. The figure retains all posability, of course, all the swivels, everything, including the waist joint, which is swiveled here, but can't really tell much because of the angle he's standing at. But most importantly of all is that he pairs well with Bunny, and that's the most important thing that these figures have to do. They have to pair with each other because, it's kind of my favorite couple in all of comics. Yeah, I know, I know everybody has their favorites, but this is my comic power couple. I defy you to challenge me. Alright, so that makes 3 characters from the post-Super Genesis wave. I guess, I just need Sally to make the core 4, huh? Alright, so thanks to all my Patreon supporters, and I am checking out. See you next time.